So this is going to be a little bit of a shorter segment that I plan to do probably once a week, once every couple weeks. This is going to be basically just my week in music. So let's get started. So basically the point of this is just not necessarily to review albums, but just to give you guys an idea of what kind of music I've been listening to this past week. The first album I really kind of want to talk about, well, not really an album, but a band, is Church of the Cosmic Skull. Interestingly, I heard about this group on Facebook from a sponsored ad, no less. I usually ignore those things, but I decided to check out one of their songs on YouTube. I believe it was Evil in Your Eye, and I was blown away. They've got that very 70s Hammond organ meets like modern indie rock with a bit of like classic sort of prog songwriting. It's really cool. And it was enough that I actually ordered their second album, Science Fiction, on cassette because I gotta give my Walkman some love. That was pretty good though. I really enjoy this band. Definitely recommend checking them out. This is maybe a bit more of a 2 weeks ago kind of thing, but Black Mountains 4 has been something that has been in my regular rotation all week. And it's another kind of example of, like, I don't really check out a lot of psychedelic stoner music kind of thing. That's not really my style. But Black Mountain just has a very particular way of going about it, and especially on this record. A lot more use of Moog synthesizer textures, and it's a little bit more, space rock, which is really cool. I definitely recommend checking this record out. Now, of course, you've already seen, probably, hopefully by now, my review of Coheed and Cambria's Vaxis Act 1, The Unheavenly Creatures. And yeah, I didn't really care much for that album. I had to listen to it many times to do a review, both for this channel and a print review for UltimateGuitar.com. Another album that I did a print review of was Monument's Phronesis. I don't know how I feel about that record yet. It's not terrible. It's not a bad record. It just hasn't quite fully sunk in yet. I think that there are some issues with the idea that this is an album that was 4 years in the making, and both Ollie and John, the guitar players, have kind of made bigger waves in the guitar community with their product demos and stuff, and I kind of expected more from them riff-wise. And this album's kind of just a very generic metalcore kind of gent record. And there isn't really all that much interesting going on, but I think I'm going to have to listen to the album a few more times before I really get it. This guy. One of my favorite Dream Theater albums of all time. Actually, I believe this was the first Dream Theater album I've ever heard. And I saw it at High Road Records here in Sudbury for a good price. I had to pick it up. And let me say that the only problem I have with this record is the fact that the title track is cut in half. I realize that that's down to the restrictions of the format. You can't have a 47-minute long epic take up one side of a record. But it's still just such a buzzkill to be in the glory of the title track of this record and then have to flip the record over. At least they picked a kind of decent spot to do it, but still. Hey, if they have a cassette release of it, I'm sure it's probably split much better. Going back to the album that I did my first review on this channel of Duran Gray's The Insulated World, I've been listening to it more and more since that review, and I've actually been coming to like it more and more the more I listen to it. It's kind of still got that kind of unevenness to it, where the first half of it is still too heavy and then the second half is too soft, but I think the more you listen to the record, the more that sort of unevenness you start to appreciate the melodies in the first half more, and then the heavier moments in the second half more. The production's still terrible. I mean, the mixing is still, I don't know what they were thinking when they mastered this record, but musically speaking, I think this is actually a very strong record. And you know what? If you're not feeling the album just yet, keep listening. Give it some more time. You might find yourself digging it more and more like I do. This is the same thing with every Daron Gray record. Every single one of them has a tendency to kind of start off really low in my books, and then the more I listen to it, the more I enjoy it. So, yeah, give it a chance. Well, that's it for the music that I've been listening to that's been of any real note this week. Hopefully I check out a few more really good bands, really good albums, revisit some old classics, and have something to show you for it next week. Or in a couple weeks. I haven't decided on a regular schedule for this. Might be weekly, might be monthly. Who knows? Anyway, thank you for watching. Signing off.